You are listening to Revolution Talk Radio. Welcome to the revolution.
All right, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Revolution Talk Radio. I am horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, is Old Boy. And today we have a very special guest, Matt James. He's an author. He wrote the book Egypt Lost Gods, and he's also a Mason. And that's going to be really interesting. We can't wait to get into that with him. So, hello, Old Boy. Hello, Matt. How are you gentlemen doing?
Oh, not too bad. Thanks for having me on.
Good deal. Let's get into the first. Why don't you tell the audience about your book? Let's get that out of the way first, and tell them the title in case I butchered it, because that happens sometimes. I'm getting old, and tell them what it's about and where they can find it and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll get into the other stuff.
All right. My name's Matthew James. The book that I wrote is called Egypt's Lost God, Sokar. It's available on Amazon. It's pretty much Sokar is the Egyptian god of death and reincarnation. He's responsible for a lot of other things, which I go into the book. The book pretty much is comprised of the many different forms of Sokar. He's closely associated with Ka and Osiris. It goes into the rituals that are performed to him. It goes into the offerings that were commonly given to him and the areas that he represents in Egypt. And again, you can find it on Amazon.
Awesome. Is it just on Kindle, or is it available in paperback and all that kind of stuff as well?
It's available in paperback.
Awesome. Yeah, I know my books are on Amazon as well. I love Amazon. I think it's a great platform because it's given, not only has it given an opportunity to a lot of authors that wouldn't ordinarily have an opportunity, that are talented, but also a lot of subject matter that ordinarily wouldn't get published. And I think that's kind of what you fall into more than anything, is some of the subject matter that ordinary publishers would kind of shy away from a little bit, you know what I mean? And Amazon is given that opportunity, which is really, really cool.
Oh, absolutely. I pretty much wrote the book as an informational piece, more for myself, but anyone who was interested in that certain part of ancient Egyptian history. Some people liked it, some people didn't. So, if you like it, great. If you don't, hey, to each their own.
Okay, so
I will check it out.
You said Sokar. So tell the
S-O-K-
audience, and tell me, because I don't know who Sokar is either. So kind of break that down. Who is Sokar? What is this religion all about?
Okay, so Sokar pretty much, he was originally a primordial god back before the founding of the first dynasty of Egypt. So roughly around between 5,000 and 7,000 years ago. He was then a tribal god associated with life, death, agriculture, and he was around the time of the first dynasty, about 4,000 years ago. He was incorporated by the Egyptians, and they started worshiping him as well. His main area of worship was Memphis, Egypt. And there's also a cemetery, a real famous cemetery in Egypt called Saqqara, and that's where the first pyramid was built.
Very interesting. Interesting. Now, on the Freemason side, let's get into that too, because this is something that me and Old Boy talk about a lot on this show, is the Freemasons and the Illuminati and the New World Order and all that kind of stuff. And our audience obviously knows what side we're on this battle, and here we have an opportunity to actually speak with a Freemason. So for our audience, kind of give your Freemason bona fides and just tell them who you are as far as the Freemasons go, because I know you were telling me before that it's the Scottish Rite of the Freemasons. Is that correct?
I'm a member of both the Blue Lodge in Victorville, and also a member of the Scottish Rite in San Bernardino. I've been a member of the Blue Lodge since 2003, and I was originally initiated in the lodge in Pomona, California, and then I moved. I live in the desert, so I eventually transferred my membership up to the Victorville Lodge and finished my degrees out there.
Okay,
So I
are you like on the same side as? I know it's kind of silly to say sides, but are you like affiliated with the Illuminati as well? Your branch of Freemasonry are you guys like
no.
or are you on the opposite side?
I would say I'm on the opposite side. Well, we're on the opposite side. The branch that I'm a part of originally came out of the Grand Lodge of England in 1717, and the Illuminati. I guess a member of the founder of the Illuminati was a member of the Grand Lodge of England, and he was kicked out.
Yeah.
So that's when he started the Illuminati, I guess, and so whatever the Illuminati does, that's what they do. But no, we don't have anything to do with them at all.
So the Illuminati, basically, if I'm understanding this correctly, the Illuminati is basically like the rebel stepchild that kind of ran away from home. You know what I mean? Is out screwing up the world and doing bad things. When the parent company, so to speak, where they came from, is kind of looking down in disapproval at them and be like, "What are you guys doing? You're killing me here. You're giving us a bad name."
Yeah, pretty much. From what I've read on the Illuminati, I'm not a big reader on them, but I've skimmed the pages like everybody else has, and they didn't like what Freemasonry was doing out of England, and because of course Freemasonry had already spread to Prussia and Russia and that area. They didn't like what Freemasonry was doing, so they decided they wanted to do their own thing and try to influence kings and queens and princes, dukes, and whatever. And eventually, there was a big backlash against the Illuminati for that.
Yeah, see, a lot of people don't understand that. When they look at Freemasonry, they think all Freemasons are Illuminati. It's the same exact thing. That's what a lot of people think. And it's interesting to see that it's kind of broken up into different sectors. You know what I mean? Like there's some that are bad that are with the Illuminati, and then there's some that are actually doing good. A lot of people don't realize that the majority of our founders were Masons as well. And
I believe
DC is set up according to Freemason symbols and everything.
Right. Yeah. I do believe 16 signers of the Declaration of Independence. I might be wrong on the number. But I know actually one of our founding fathers, John Adams, was opposed to Freemasonry, even though all of his friends were Masons.
Yep.
Yeah, John Adams was rather contrary anyway. Nobody really got along with him.
That's true.
He
was a lawyer.
Wasn't George Washington a Mason?
Yeah. George Washington was actually became the Grand Master of the Lodge in Virginia.
Yeah. Thomas Jefferson.
Benjamin Franklin, he was Grand Master of the Lodge in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
So
I knew. I've heard that story
What
before.
kind of stuff does the Freemasons do now? I mean, what do you guys do? I mean, do you just kind of get together and hang out and have drinks and be Masons, or do you have like a purpose, a goal, something that you guys like a mission that you guys do? Like some groups raise money for the poor, some groups do this, do that. What do you guys do?
We're actually, I do believe, if not the largest, the second largest charitable organization in the world. They donate between $400 and $700 million a year to different charities. Like take the Shriners Hospital. The Shriners are Masons, and can't be a Shriner unless you're a Mason. But the Shriners Hospital, you never have to pay for any care. If you're admitted to the Shriners Hospital, you pay nothing. They take care of it off of the donations given to them by Freemasonry.
Yeah.
We donate money to the city for rebuilding projects. We help out schools. In fact, we have a project we do every year for schools in our local area. Everywhere from Hesperia, Apple Valley, Victorville, Snowline District. We help encourage reading for the students. If there's a charity out there, we've probably donated to it.
Probably true. I agree with that one.
But all the dues that Masons pay all goes is all charitable donations, and everything is a matter of public record. You could get a hold of the financial records if you looked, but it all has publicly.
So what branch of the Freemasons would be the ones that are associated with the Illuminati, that are the bad ones?
That I couldn't tell you. There are other branches of Freemasonry that we consider clandestine Masons, and that we really don't associate with. Memphis and Missourium, I do believe, is one of them.
Yeah.
So other than that, I couldn't tell you which ones are associated with the Illuminati.
Why do you have that mark anyway? Because of that, why do they always say you have something to do with Illuminati?
Well, because people inherently have a fear of things they don't understand.
Yeah.
Freemasonry is not a secret society. We're a society that has secrets. If we were a real secret society, you would never know our lodges existed. And what's that?
You also have to have them exist so you can have tax write-offs too. So you got to remember that.
Well, yeah, my dues are tax deductible. I take the that I pay to the Blue Lodge and the Scottish Rite. They're both tax deductible because we're a 501c3 corporation.
Yeah, that's why. So you guys can claim taxes. That's why you have to. That's why you're not a secret society, because you wouldn't make any money. So you have to.
Actually, that's not true. At one time, in the early 1800s, Freemasonry was a secret society.
It was.
Either lodges in cities, and the dues that they paid back then were substantially more than you pay now.
Oh, I believe it. You had to be a special person to be in there anyway. But the problem wasn't like the reason why I heard you guys get called with the Illuminati, because like you said, there was people who were involved in it, and then there's a rumor that I don't know if it was one of the vice presidents or vice presidents were involved with Satanism, so that's why they all thought, that's what the Masons are all involved. And I think it's because of a certain couple people in the 17 and 1800s that people think that you're some kind of bad organization, and that's what I think. I've heard the story about what they say was going on with the Illuminati, and that also because he wasn't a Lester Crowley, wasn't he? He was in with the Golden Dawn, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was Golden Dawn. Yeah, he wasn't a Freemason. He was a member of the Golden Dawn. I don't know anything about the Golden Dawn other than I see people who say they follow it. I couldn't tell you anything about the Golden Dawn.
But the Catholics had had money. You guys didn't you have issues with that's the church, with the Catholic Church, wasn't the Golden Dawn? Isn't that
I couldn't tell you.
Because I know Lester Kelly originally was in the church. I think and then he ended up got kicked out because he was bringing magic and sex and all that kind of stuff.
I know. Aleister Crowley was kicked out of the Golden Dawn actually for doing that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why there are some kind of Christian. They're like I think it's like the Catholic or the Christians version of the Masons or something. I don't know, but like I said, I've read a little bit about Lester. Yeah, and he ended up getting into the satanic religion, or he's the one who made the Luciferian religion or satanic religion.
Possible. The funny thing is that I talk to a lot of Christians. And they say, well, I don't like the Freemasons because, they worship the devil or they invoke demons or anything. What the funny part about that is I talk to pagans and they say the opposite. They say, I don't like Freemasons because they're a Christian organization.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
that is funny.
The truth is, Freemasonry, although religion plays a part, we do not ascribe to any one religion.
Yeah, you have all kinds of different members.
As long as you believe in any form of a higher power, you can apply to be a Mason. No atheist can be a Mason. Yeah. We don't accept atheists at all.
I was telling James that the other day because I was talking about this. Yeah, if you don't believe in anything, you can't be in.
Yeah, see, for me, it's more about curiosity about Freemasonry, because I know that our founders were involved in Freemasonry and they created the greatest nation the world has ever seen. You know what I mean? Our Constitution is an unbelievable document. It's amazing. So it can't be all bad. You know what I mean? But then on the other hand, you have these idiots in the Illuminati that are trying to destroy the entire world. You know what I mean? So that's definitely evil. So then you always hear the two associated, and from what I've heard is a lot of the standard Freemasons, they're not bad people, but once you reach a high enough level, and like I think they say like your 33rd degree or something like that of Freemasonry,
Yeah.
then you get led into a whole nother level of stuff which ties in with the Illuminati and everything. And that's kind of what I'm asking about. If you, I don't even know if you know or not, but at what point do the two organizations intersect? Because there's a lot of people that say that they do. You know what I mean?
Well, I couldn't tell you where they intersect. I don't believe that the Illuminati itself intersects with the branch of Freemasonry I'm a part of. Now, I can't speak for all branches of Freemasonry because there are different branches that we don't even talk to. They're just not associated. They're not a part of our particular branch. But there are other branches that we do talk to, like Prince Hall Masons. They're some of the coolest people I ever met in my life. And we actually have a Prince Hall Lodge in the high desert as well.
Yeah.
But as far, I mean, and I've met several 33rd degrees, and I've never even gotten the slightest vibe that they would even be associated with the Illuminati or anything like that. And and you can tell when someone's creepy or not.
Yeah,
you get a bad vibe off of someone who is a bad.
You wouldn't know if they were or not. Be honest, that doesn't mean just because somebody's creepy doesn't mean they're into something. You could know some of the nicest people in the world, and they could end up being a murderer. Look at the Iceman that was in the mafia. He was a killer, killed hundreds of people. His wife, he was the greatest guy to his wife, and people loved him. And he was a murderer.
Absolutely true.
So, I mean, you can't really go by that. And he's not going to know anyway because, he's not a 33rd. And like I said, he's not really supposed to talk too much either. I know some of the rules. So,
I can talk a whole lot. There are things I'm not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, see, he's only allowed to say so much stuff, too.
See, and that's the frustrating part.
Right. If you ask me a question, I'll tell you whether or not I can answer it. 9 times out of 10, I probably can. But
so, I understand that. That's just your organization's rules. That's why rules are. Back to what I was saying is with the, we were talking about the Egyptian stuff. And let's get back to the story I was doing last week. A lot of people, I was talking about how I was involved in the occult and Wiccan and some other stuff. And Matt was in my history before then. He kind of helped me out just to let my audience know. We're not going to get into the groups and why we did it, but we were involved in some stuff. We had a group, and it was something that I never even heard anybody ever do before. And trust me, I've talked to a lot of people who are into this stuff. And we got together. We branched off after, when people have we did our own thing. But we were always connected in some way with this. He did his thing, and I did mine. He went on an opposite with the Egyptian. I didn't. I went more to the paganism. So what I was saying is this is more of a part 2 to what my story last week was. And now we got to find out a little bit about the Masons. That's good because we were talking about that a couple weeks ago. But back what I was saying is me and Matt, we were younger. We loved a lot of the same stuff like music, clothing, the people, back then, that was the style, a lot of people like goth and like Marilyn Manson and stuff like that. Not saying that that's what they are. I'm just saying that we had a lot in general. It's common, same interest. And we started hanging out. He got me into some of this stuff because I always had a question of God. I always will. I believe in God, but I believe other things, and there's because I've seen it and dealt with it. And I went a different route than he did. So I don't really know too much about the Egyptian, what their religion is. And I know a little bit because he's told me, what he's told me. But he went on a different route with another group. And I had my group. And I did my thing while he did his. But we originally formed something a long time ago. And that was just, we were younger. And it was cool. That's when I got into it. He's the reason he's a lot of the reason he showed me how all this stuff is there. And I kind of got into it. He's a lot of the reasons I know all this stuff and why I was involved in it at one time. But I did my own thing and I had my own branch. So I don't. The only thing is my audience doesn't. What do you do with how's that the Egyptian part work? What do you pray to? And I know what God you pray to, but how's is it different from pagan and Wiccan, where you pray to certain gods or you pray to Mother Nature? You know what I'm talking about,
right? No, pretty much I follow the same basic traditions that the ancient Egyptians themselves did.
Yeah.
I don't sacrifice any animals. That's kind of illegal.
Yeah.
So, but no, yeah, I pretty much I've been following the Egyptian religion itself for 20 years. I dedicated myself to the god Sokar in 1999 or 2000. One of those years. It's been a while. How it differs from paganism now. Like Wiccans and Alexandrians, and great. A lot of them are great people. I personally know a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
But when they do a ritual, they call corners or they call a circle or something like that. I don't do that. I figure they call circles in the corners to put a barrier of protection around them so their gods will protect them, which is cool. I think my God protects me all the time. So I don't personally see the point in doing that, but I don't put anyone down for their beliefs. That's not who I am.
So what do you do? I mean, do you do magic? I mean, is that what this thing gives you? Is the ability to do magic, or do you do spells, or are there rituals where you have to burn incense and dance in a circle 3 times, or something like that? I mean, what exactly does it entail?
I do not have to dance in a circle 3 times. No, yeah, magic's a big part of it. But it's not magic like you'll see in the movies, like Mummy or anything like that. It's pretty much the form of magic I do is really prayer. I pray, to bring, I ask for guidance for certain things. If I'm stuck in a certain situation like that I need help in, I will pray to Sokar to give me the knowledge or guidance to get out of that. We are big in curses. A lot of people in the pagan community say, "Oh, you can't do that. You can't curse somebody." Well,
you're not supposed to.
For the past 8,000 years, they're big on karma, though, which is cool. Yeah. I believe in karma, but if someone wrongs me, my family, my close friends, they're gonna get what's coming to them. I will curse them, but it's a part of what I believe. I'm not going to go out and be like, oh, well, I just don't like you for no reason. I'm going to make you spit out frogs or whatever. Yeah. That's all ridiculous stuff. It's pretty much a curse is pretty much just accelerating someone's karma that they already have. But hey, and that could be anything from you stub your toe on a thing, you get a flat tire, you trip, you break, it's all relative to that person. I can't control what'll happen to that person.
And the difference between Wiccan and all of them, they believe if you do that, you will get karma back. That's exactly. The difference. That's the difference. Absolutely. So, I believe that too.
I believe that in a way too. Like if I were to act maliciously against somebody, I would receive negative karma about that. There's no doubt about it.
So basically,
I understand that.
You're kind of like the Egyptian religion that you're following with Sokar. It kind of has some of the same similarities as like some of the Hindu and Indian religions, to where it's like karma based and like what you do affects what happens to you and that kind of thing. There's that kind of component to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, if I were to, do a prayer or a spell or a curse or something on somebody just because I felt like it, you bet your bottom dollar that I'm sure I'm going to reap the repercussions of that. But if someone attacks my family, they've already brought that karma upon themselves. I'm just giving it back to them.
Yes.
So, like, what kind of
Sounds
magic
familiar.
do you do with that religion? Because I know, like, in Wicca, you have, like, white magic and black magic, and they do. I mean, I've known some people that have been involved in the Wiccan religions, and they do all kinds of different things. All kinds of. There seems to be, and maybe it's not true Wiccanism. I have no idea, because I mean, I'm a Christian. I don't know anything about this, but it seems like there's a spell for everything. There's love spells. There's money spells. There's this spell. There's that spell, and maybe that's a bunch of nonsense. You know what I mean? That maybe these people aren't true Wiccans. They're just playing at it. I don't know. But what kind of stuff do you have in your religion that you follow? What kind of magic do you do? Do you have white and black magic? Do you do spells to help you in your everyday life? Or is it kind of almost like a Christianity thing where you're just trying to, find something to believe in and you pray to God when you need guidance and help with things just like Christians do?
I don't think magic has a color. I think even the nicest spell in the world could be used with bad intent. Like say there's a friend who is on the verge of bankruptcy, and you want to help them out, and you do a spell or ritual to help them out and get them, maybe get money for them, or then if you're doing it for the wrong reason, then a spell to help somebody out is just as bad as a spell to attack somebody. Defining things black, white, red, green, I think that's more of a modern, and by modern I mean within the last 150, 200 years, modern way of looking at things. I think the color of a magic is pretty much there to make people feel better about themselves, really. But again, that's just my opinion. I do spells for personal guidance and getting out of a situation. Like I know that I'm gonna. What's a good analogy? Like if I know I have a test or an exam, or I know I have to go do a certain task, I will then do a ritual or spell to hopefully receive the information and guidance to get past that, to accomplish that. And a ritual can last anywhere from 10 minutes, 2 hours with me personally. It all depends on what your goal is.
Yeah, I understand.
So
I think what it is
game?
with the gold, blue, magic, red.
That's what I'd like to know. It's like with Christians.
Game,
with Christians, you have heaven, you have hell. With Hindus, you have reincarnation.
Yeah.
Like what's the end game with your religion? Do you believe in a heaven and a hell? Do you get reincarnated when you die? Is it just nothing and you're just gone? How does that work with you guys?
Pretty much. When you die, you are taken. Everyone is taken to the underworld, and you have to prove your worth to the God that you follow.
Yeah.
And there are trials and tribulations that you have to overcome. And at the end, if you were found to be a good person, the sins of your heart are weighed against the feather of justice, pretty much.
Yeah.
And if the sins of your heart outweigh that, and then you are, you go to our version of hell. And it's pretty much what Christians would call a demon devouring your soul for all eternity.
Yeah.
But
kind of like hell.
Now on the other end, if you are a good person, then you go to what is called the field of rushes, and it's pretty much heaven. It's pretty much what Christians would consider heaven.
So pretty similar to heaven, kind of like hell, and heaven's pretty similar. But if you do bad, you'll go to their version, your version of heaven. If you do good, you do. If you do bad, you go to their version of hell, and if you go to heaven, you go to your version of heaven. Well, what's the end? You have like an end game of like how the world's supposed to be the rapture. That's what he meant, like the end game. Do you have like an end of the world thing, like the Jews do, the Muslims do, Christians do? Do you have anything like that? Like, is there going to be like an end of the world thing, kind of like we do?
No, with us there's nothing like that.
Okay.
Like, no, we don't have anything like that. Your goal in life is to be the best person you possibly can. Help out people, when they need it. You can actually look up. It's the 42 laws of Ma'at, or the 42 laws of justice.
Yeah.
And and some of them are. I have spent my life trying to be a good person, and and it just goes down the list of pretty much it's like the 10 Commandments, but for ancient Egyptians.
Yeah.
Instead of 10, we have 42.
This is going to sound like a really silly question, and I don't mean it like in a silly way, but like in movies and in pop culture, there's a lot of stuff going on with like mummies, and I mean it's been going on in horror for a long, long time, and we know about how the Egyptians used to make mummies and prepare the bodies of the pharaohs and everything like that. What is your stance on mummies as far as your religion goes? Is it just a dead body that's prepared, or in your religion do they have some kind of supernatural abilities or powers or something like that, like they're portrayed in the movies, or is that just a bunch of fiction?
That's pretty much all a bunch of fiction. When you mummify a body, you take out the brain and all the internal organs except for the heart. And so when you mummify the body, the heart is there because as long as your body is intact and your name is written somewhere in your tomb or headstone, then you are guaranteed an afterlife. But as far as like supernatural powers, like the mummy itself, no. Now they will put things in with your body, like around it, like little figurines called ushabtis, and they are figurines that in the next life, when you go, if you ascend to heaven, that they will be there to help you. They'll pretty much be like servants, but they're made of clay. They're about 8 to 12 inches long, and but no, as far as the mummy coming back and that's all fiction.
Now all the treasure that they put
into
the pyramid with you, like when a pharaoh was buried, they would put a lot of treasure and beautiful things in there with him, so that he could take that with him to the next life as well. But everybody knows that all these pyramids had like little entrances and stuff that people didn't know about, and grave robbers would get in there and steal a bunch of the stuff. So what happens if the pharaoh is supposed to take all that stuff with him to the next life? What happens when the grave robber comes in and takes half his stuff? Does he lose it in the next life, or is it just like one of those the thought that counts kind of things? Because it was there, he has it.
It's pretty much like if he was buried with it, that's what he has in the next life.
So regardless of whether it's stolen, he still has it.
People have been right,
pretty much.
Like as long as his body remains in, his heart remains intact, and to them their names were everything. That's why a pharaoh had 5, 6, 7 different names. There's the name he's born with. There's when he moves up in society, you get the name. And each name means something. But as long as his name is inscribed in his tomb, then he's assured his afterlife. Should he be found worthy of going to heaven?
Wow, that makes a lot of stuff make a lot of sense now, dude. Because I remember reading. I'm a history guy. I love history, and I remember reading about ancient Egypt and reading how sometimes pharaohs would literally wipe away former pharaohs from history. They would scratch their names off the temples, off of all the hieroglyphs, everything. They would just take their name out of history. And I always thought, that's kind of a dick move. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? And it never made sense. But you saying that, now that clicks in my head. And it makes perfect sense now why they would do it. Because not only were they trying to get rid of the the memory of them, but they were literally trying to erase them from the afterlife. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
That is correct. Like in Egypt, there's a temple called Heliopolis, and that's where we found most of the names of all the pharaohs we know now. And there's hundreds of them on the wall. And the two that you will not find are Akhenaten and King Tut. Because Akhenaten was King Tut's father. And they were Akhenaten tried to bring monotheism to Egypt. He moved the capital. He had a whole city built. And he pretty much said, okay, well, no, you're just going to worship this one God. Well, you're taking a culture that's been around for already 3,000 years and telling them, no, you can't do that anymore. So they pretty much got rid of him. And then his son took, the throne, King Tut, and they got rid of him and restored the gods back to Egypt. And so you won't find their cartouches with their names on the wall at the temple. Now we got lucky with King Tut because he died early, so they stuck him in someone else's tomb. And they put stuff in there, and it was pretty much the only tomb we found to date that was never robbed.
Yeah.
Because it belonged to a lesser person, but he died early, so they stuck him there. But had that not happened, there probably would be no evidence of him.
So what's your view on like the Old Testament story of like when Ramesses and Moses, when they had their thing together and they had the plagues that was brought upon Egypt by God, and they lost their firstborn, and all that whole story from the Old Testament, that's documented not only in the Old Testament, but it's also documented in Egyptian histories. What is your view on that? Do you believe that actually happened the way it's documented, or are you kind of like of the opinion that none of that stuff is true?
Oh no, I think probably a certain amount of it is true. Because I was raised Pentecostal, and the King James version that I read, it doesn't list the Pharaoh by name. It just says Pharaoh. And so that's the big controversy, is which Pharaoh was it. Everybody assumes it was Ramses. But as far as I've never been actually able to find like other documentation to say it was Ramses. It could have been. I'm not saying it wasn't.
We assume,
but no. I think
we assume that it was Ramesses because in a lot of the old Gnostic Gospels, there's different hints about who it is. They never do come out and say it's Ramesses. So you're absolutely correct about that. But in a lot of the old Gnostic Gospels that aren't included in the Bible that we have now, because they were taken out by King James when they had that big thing.
Right.
In a lot of those, there's a lot of hints and clues about things that were going on in the empire of Egypt at the time, and they've kind of mix and match with Egypt history and the old Gospels and everything, and kind of put it all into place chronologically, and Ramesses is the one that fits, basically. That's how they come upon that conclusion. But yeah, it never does mention him by name in the Bible.
I've gotten into like arguments over like the whole Moses, story, because like they'll be like, well, and I pretty much I'll tell them what I'm about to tell you, because they were preaching at me, and I don't like to be preached at. I'll listen to you. I'll have a religious conversation with you, but I don't like to be preached at. No one does. So he was preaching at me, saying that, well, Moses, when the priests of Pharaoh cast their rods down and they turned to snakes, Moses took his staff, cast it down, it turned to a greater serpent, and it devoured the serpents of the priests. And so they're preaching at me about this. And so then I would come back with, well, of course his serpent devoured theirs. He was raised as a prince of Egypt, and as a prince of Egypt, he would have been sent to the schools of magic that were far above what the regular priests were. And so, of course, he could conjure up a serpent to devour theirs. He had greater Egyptian magic than they did. And so, that's not that it's true. I don't know if it's true or not. It might not be. It might be. But that's just what I like to throw at them every time they preach at me.
See, I think the mistake that a lot of people make, and especially a lot of Christians make, is it is not our job as Christians to judge what you believe. It is not my job as a Christian to argue with you and try to make you feel less of a human being because of what you believe. Okay, that's not my job. My job as a Christian is to love you. Okay, I don't care if you're a devil worshiper. I don't care if you're Illuminati. I don't care what you are. My job is to love you. Okay, and that's where a lot of Christians, and I mean, I'm saying this as a Christian, that's where a lot of Christians drop the ball, because they get all holier than thou and they say, well, my Bible says this, and that means you're wrong, and you're going to hell, and blah, 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 blah. That's not what Jesus calls us to do. He calls us to love everybody and forgive, and that's all we need to really do.
Right,
absolutely. And all that other stuff will be sorted out by God. You know, the truth of the matter is, and Christians will never admit this because they don't want to admit this, we don't know what the truth is either. All we have is what we have to go on. The Bible that we read isn't even the complete Bible because it was changed in the Middle Ages. So we don't know. We only know what we believe, and it's different than what other people believe. So my message to all the Christians out there that listen is, I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm one of you. I believe that Jesus Christ is my Savior. He died on the cross for my sins. I believe that with all my heart. Our job as Christians is to love each other and to love everybody. Stop judging people. If they're doing wrong, that's between them and God. You know what I mean? That's not for us to worry about. Our job is to love and to be an example. That's it. You know what I mean? And I wish that more Christians would live their life that way, because that's what Jesus called us to do. And I think it gives Christianity a bad name because we come off as these holier-than-thou pricks that judge everybody, when the reality of the situation is we're all sinners. Just because we're saved doesn't mean we're any better than anybody that isn't. Yep. We're all sinners. We're all pieces of garbage that fall short. Right. That's what we are. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So, you know, that's what I tell people. I said, you know what? You might be right. I might be right. We will all find out when we die. And at that point, if I was wrong, I was wrong.
Yep. And I have nothing to lose if I was wrong or right, because I believe if I die, I'm going to go to heaven, and there's no wrong reason to even say I won't. Or if I die, then that's what happens. I'm going to find out. It's not my job to judge you and tell you what you're going to do in your life and what you shouldn't believe in. The only thing I can do is love you. I could tell you what I believe. Doesn't mean I have to force it on you. And that's what a lot of Christians do, exactly what James said, is they make us look bad because they force it on people.
A lot of pagans do the same thing. You know, I think there are people in every faith and religion throughout the world that are all guilty of that. No one is not guilty of that.
No, that's true.
It's very true. Walk of life. I've met plenty of pagans who were like, "Oh, well, the Christians, you know, they did this, this, and that." I was like, "Well, maybe there were Christians then that did it, but like, you know, like the Crusades. Okay, the Crusades happened in the 11th through the 13th century. How long ago was that?
A long time ago.
Long time ago.
But just because one person does one thing doesn't mean that's what happens. A couple people do things, so everybody hates one religion. Exactly like with yours. You know, you have people who believe in Satan, or they believe in different religions, and they're going to hell. They're pagans. That says in the Bible it's wrong. Well, you know what? That's not my business to tell you that. And what happened is you have a few people who do stupid shit, like these kids who, you know, like with the vampire killings, when they thought they were vampires and they were actually killing people, or they were actually like Dungeons and Dragons. Remember, they thought that was satanic because people were actually playing it out and they had groups. But that was all, I think that was an 80s thing. Like a lot of people think I think there was a group of people that were trying to be something, like with that Satanist stuff. So everybody just thinks automatically you're the part of the devil. That's it. I don't want to hear anymore. You're going to hell. And that's what a lot of people do. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to judge somebody. You're supposed to love them. Do we have to hang out with you all the time? No, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. And yeah, we can hang out with you, but it says we have to watch, because we could end up falling, you know, from what we believe in. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to not be your friend. That's stupidity. That's what people do. And that's what people who don't really know the Bible, or just ignorant, and they hear a couple things, or they got taught it by their parents, they think they're better than everybody, but yet they're cheating on their wife, sleeping with another chick, or they're doing stuff that's sinning, ripping people off. You know, they do the exact same thing. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. It says in the Bible, "Judge not, lest ye be judged yourselves, or by those judgments let thee also be judged." So
Yes.
you judging other people does you no good, because
No.
you already have the mandate not to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
We're not supposed to do it.
Mine has a similar thought process.
Yeah. You pretty much have a similar, like with Satanism, it's pretty similar, dude. I mean, people don't get it. An eye for an eye. You do bad to people, you should get bad to you. You do destroy the person who has done bad to you. You do bad back, and you don't. There isn't a devil like people think. You just believe in anything that's you're against God, basically. Which there's no, like, people think there's like a big, they believe there's a devil, but it's only because it's against God. It's not what people think. It's not a guy with a porch fit with a pitchfork chasing people around in hell. That came from Dante's Inferno with the Catholics and stuff like that. They wanted to make people fall, like, because they were changing beliefs then with the Catholic Church, and they were trying to make people. Yeah, they wanted control, and they also wanted to make it where, like, because people had like 2 or 3 wives then and all this, and they changed it so you'd be as one person, and they were doing it. That was all with the Catholic Church. So that's what I'm saying. People don't get it.
Right.
When you go to hell or whatever you believe in, it's not with the red guy.
If you're gonna go by what Christianity in the Bible says, Lucifer is the most beautiful angel in all of creation.
He was supposed to be, yes.
He's the son of the morning.
Yes.
And so he wouldn't appear to you as a pitchfork. With a guy with a pitchfork, he'd appear to you somebody that, you probably wouldn't be able to resist if you didn't have a strong constitution or a strong faith.
Yeah, it's pretty much true.
And keep in mind, old boy, that whole eye for an eye thing is Old Testament. That's not what we're called as Christians to be like. We're called to turn the other cheek by Jesus. I'm talking about Christians don't understand also is like the 10 Commandments and eye for an eye and all that kind of stuff is Old Testament. Okay? That's not New Testament. That's not the gospel of Jesus. That's the pact that was made with Moses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize in the story of Moses, when they're going into the desert right before he's going up to the mountain to receive the word of God, when he comes back down and casts the commandments into the golden idol is actually the Egyptian goddess Hathor, and she's the goddess and she was represented as sometimes a golden calf.
Yeah,
and she was the goddess of lust and sexuality and love and all those things, and so, but a lot of people don't realize that. They just think, oh, it was a golden idol. But if you read into it and then you cross-reference, it was an Egyptian goddess that they were following. And he was there to tell them no.
Oh, okay.
Kind of makes sense if you think about it.
I didn't know that one.
I mean, you got a bunch of dudes. You got a bunch of dudes that are walking around in the desert for 40 years, right? And the guy that's telling them what to do and keeping them in line takes off for a while and goes up in the mountain by himself. And so they're just kind of left to their own devices. They're hot. They've been wandering around. They're frustrated. They're aggravated. It makes complete sense that it would be the goddess of lust. You know what I mean? Because a bunch of horny dudes in the desert, they're bored. They're going to start acting up and doing stupid shit. You know what I mean? And then he comes back down and he's like, what the hell? You know what I mean? I was gone for 5 minutes. You guys can't behave yourself for 5 minutes? I remember that scene in the Mel Brooks film, right, when he comes down, he's like, I bring you these 15, and then he drops these 10 commandments. It's hilarious.
History of the World Part 1.
Yeah, great movie.
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty funny.
Great movie.
Really good movie.
Well, we got about 11
at least we learned some stuff, people didn't know,
to old boy?
Yeah, we got a little bit of time. Is there the only question I was going to ask you, Matt, is there, like, if you wanted to get, I'm asking if somebody is listening that wants to get involved, how would they go along to go get involved in this? What you believe in in what you believe in. Like if they want to, they're interested into believing the same religion you are. How would they go on to get involved in this?
They can always email me, and my email is it's Kemetic_herbalist@yahoo.com. Kemetic is spelled Kemetic, and then underscore, and then herbalist, Herbalist, and then it's at yahoo.com. Always feel free to answer questions, even if it's just a question. If they're not interested, people can always contact me, and that's the same. And that email is also the email that I use for Facebook and pretty much everything else.
Okay. So if somebody had like a herbal question, doesn't even have to believe, in involved, because you said you're a herbalist. You don't even have to believe in the same thing if they want to learn a herbal thing and like something to eat. Yeah. See, James is more into that, so that would be something he would be involved in. So
right. I actually use herbs and herbal remedies and herbal lotions. I make them all myself. I order the herbs, or if I have a herb that grows around me, I'll use that. I grow my own herbs, sage, basil, lavender, you name it, rosemary. If you name it, I'm probably, if I'm not growing it now, when it gets a little warmer out here, I'll grow it. So, but I'm always willing to answer simple, herbal questions. And I don't charge for that. It's a question. I'll answer it to you. If I can, I'll look it up and get back to you.
Oh, okay, cool. Anything else you need to add there, James?
Just the normal shout outs. Thank you to Valley Vapors in Woodstock for all you do for the troops. Thank you, Carry the Fallen. We're planning a fundraiser with Carry the Fallen that's going to be coming up here in the next month or two. So I'll give more details when that's finalized. We do a lot to try to help out our troops. And so that's a big thing that we really believe in. And so I wanted to definitely get that out, that shout out to Carry the Fallen and Valley Vapors. And I'll give some time here. We got about 7 minutes left. And let Matt plug his book again and tell everybody where they can find it and any other kind of plugs or shout outs he wants to do.
Go ahead, Matt.
I appreciate it. Again, the name of my book is Egypt's Lost God, Sokar, and they can get it on Amazon. Shout outs. I have a couple of Masonic brothers that said they were going to be listening, so I'd like to shout out to all my Masonic brothers that are listening and any other Mason that might be listening in general.
And we're not going to get you in trouble because you came on.
I want to give a shout out to.
Oh, no, I didn't tell you anything I'm not supposed to.
Okay, good. And I'm going to give a shout out to our listeners, iHeartRadio, Bravo Vegas, and give out a shout out to my friend who just started his own clothing line. It's lastcallclothing.com, LASS callclothing.com. Check him out. And I think he said he would give you guys a discount, but his name's Jason. So giving him a shout out. So, and that's about it. And shout out to my family.
Can you say the name of the clothing line again? You were breaking up on my end.
Okay. Give me 1 second again. It's called Last Call. Wait a minute. Lastcallclothing.com. It's LASSCALL clothing.com.
Okay, cool. I got it that time.
Yeah, and the guy's name's Jason.
Oh, okay.
Westerberg. Wesslerberg. That's his name. Jason, I think that's it. I might be killing it. But he's a good friend. I've known him for a long time. Just giving him a plug out there.
And I'll just
hey, I'm sure he appreciates it.
I'll go ahead and plug my books real quick because Mixler likes me to do that. I have my novels, I Am Legion, The Surrogate of Souls, The Rise of the Revenant. That's the Legion series. And then I have Call the Wind Spirits, which is a standalone novel.
Yeah.
They're available on Amazon, on Kindle, audiobook, paperback. They're available Walmart.com, Booksamillion.com, Barnes & Noble. Pretty much any place that sells books, you can find them. If they don't have them, they can order them because they're on the exchanges and everything. So definitely check those out if you haven't already. I do autographed copies as well. You just send a check for $20 to James Hershey Jr., P.O. Box 489, Strawsburg, Virginia 22657. And I'll just send me a little note though when you do, and let me know which book you want and who to make it out to. And I do that as well. I don't charge anything for the autographs. It's basically just the shipping and the cost of the novel. So now that all that's out of the way, I want to thank Matt for coming on. I'd like to have you on some other time. We'll get with Old Boy and we'll figure out a time and schedule it to where we can get you back on, because we didn't even get to get into the herbalist things today or anything like that. And I'd definitely like to spend some time, picking your brain about that. But thanks for coming on, man. It was a really, really interesting show. And thanks for being a good sport and answering all our questions.
Hey, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on. And hey, I'm always willing to answer questions.
Well, see, that's something that a lot of people
and have a good night, guys.
We would do. You know what I mean? Because they think that, because we come out pretty hard against the Illuminati on this show, and we don't shy away from a lot of very sensitive subjects where they're concerned. And I've had actually people say, yeah, but I bet you if you were actually talking to a Mason or somebody from the Illuminati, you wouldn't ask those kind of questions. And now you see, yes, we absolutely would. Either we're that brave or we're that stupid, one of the two, but we will absolutely ask any question to anybody because we believe in the truth. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm saying thanks for coming on, dude, and thanks for answering the questions.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The only stupid question is the one you don't ask. How are you supposed to find out information if you don't ask the question?
There you go, brother. All right, well, with that, we are going to wrap up the show. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you want to see the video of this show, you can check it out on the YouTube channel. Just type in James Hershey Jr. on YouTube. That's where you'll find all of our shows, and they're all on there. They're all titled, all that kind of stuff. If you're watching this right now on YouTube, if we go into the future and I've already made the video and now you're watching it on YouTube, please hit that like button and hit the subscribe button and check out the other videos that are on the channel because all of our shows are there. Thanks again, guys. We love you very much. And Old Boy, do your famous tagline before we go.
Good night, misfits, sugar ladies, and MFers. You have a wonderful night.
Oh, yeah. All right. We love you guys. Bye-bye.